In this window, we're going to enable our buttons so that it can actually change the value of the text for our label. There's going to be quite a lot that we're going to do within this lesson. We're going to move our window function or turn our window function more into a class. And within that class, we're going to call the constructor for the QWidget class, and then from there we're going to call another function which is going to initialize our user interface. Within that function, it's going to be very similar to the work that we have done before, apart from we're going to add in a signal that is going to call a function which will be our slot to change the text of the label. Okay, so let's create our class of our window. So class, the keyword, capital letter because it's a class, doesn't need to be, but it is convention, and we want to extend QWidget. Okay, so this is going to be the constructor for our class, and we want to call the constructor of our parent class, which is QTWidget. And then we're going from there, we're going to call a function of our own which we are going to use to initialize our user interface. Okay, so let's make that function. So I've called it init, so initialize user interface, and call it what you like, and it's with regards to our function there. So we've got self dot b, so b's going to be my button, so qt widgets dot q push button, and just like before we're going to call that push me. And now if you're wondering what this underline's going on here, it's telling me instances defined outside the init. Well, it is, but then again it kind of isn't, because this is going to be called every time, so it's nothing to worry about. It's just something that PyCharm does for us. And then I'm going to make my label, which is qwidgets.qLabel, and let's call this I have not been clicked yet. Call it whatever you like, of course. And now we're going to set up our layouts. So we've got hbox. I'm really just taking this from the code that we had before. qtwidgets.q, and this is going to be our hbox layout, and this is going to be the one where we've got our label at the bottom. So we've got a h box. I'm going to add a stretch, and then I'm going to have a h box, and then we're going to add a widget, and the widget we're going to add is a self.l, and then we want hbox, and we want to add another stretch. So almost the same as last time, apart from we're referring to the L within our class. Then we've got vbox, and that's going to be a qtwidgets.q vbox layout, and we're going to, from vbox, we're going to add a widget, and that widget is going to be self.b. It's going to be our button, and then vbox, we're going to this time add a layout, and that layout is going to be hbox. I mean, that should be familiar. It's pretty much what we had before. And then the class itself dot set layout, because remember our class is a QWidget, set layout vbox, and then we want to give it a title, so self dot set window title. So this one is PyQt5 lesson 5, I think it is. And then we're going to do self dot show. Now, what I haven't added in yet is the ability for the button to do anything. I'm not going to do that first. I'm just going to get this going, and then we'll see how it goes. So, when we run this program, the first thing I want it to do is to create the application loop. So, Q application system. So this shouldn't really be that confusing. We've been using this one already. I now want to create an instance of our window class. So window, and then I want to set that application loop running. So exit. Now if I run this, this should work. It won't do much, but there we go. We'll run it. There's our little window. It's pretty much the same thing we've had before. Actually, I'm running, that's a different one that I've run before. Let me just go up here. It shouldn't have done anything. Signal slot. Okay, I've not been clicked yet. Push this and look, nothing happens. We want it to do what the last one did. So let's close that and let's add that functionality in. So after here, I'm going to say self, if I can spell self dot b dot clicked, and now I'm just going to get rid of this dot connect. Now it's going to be a bit confused by, but we'll see what happens there. So they're going to have self. Now what happens here? I've said I've got this slot. So I'm saying signal, and basically it's going to do whatever's in this these parentheses here when we click the button. So we're creating a connection between the slot, the click, and the signal, the click, and the slot, what's in here. Now this is cannot find reference connect, but that's PyCharm. It's not, it's just the fact that it can't find it on the thing. So I can call any function I like. So I'm going to call my function button click, and obviously it won't do anything now because it doesn't even know what button click is. If I try and run that, and it says what's going on here, I don't know what this button click is. So what we're going to do is we're going to define that function button click. So button underscore, not bracket, underscore click, and that's going to take a reference. Sorry, it's going to take a reference to the class, and we've got self dot label. And we can do this because obviously we've brought the class in there. Set text, and let's say the text is I have been clipped. That's it. So what we've got here, we say we've got this signal when B is clicked, and we're connecting it to this slot, which is this function, which says what I want to do is change the text of the label within the class to I have been clicked. Now let's run that one. So here it is, I have not been clicked. Let's click the button, I have been clicked. That's all it is. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, think about subscribing. I've included a link to the code that I've used in the video below in the description. Stay in infield with Winfield.